There's a point in some abusive relationships where you stop reacting to the abuse, not because it doesn't hurt, but because it happens so often you start to expect it. Sometimes you might even initiate it just to get it over with. That's what it can be like when you're faced with anger and rage from your partner. Real rage is more than yelling. You feel it radiating from her. You see the eyes change into something black, cold, almost evil. You're attacked on so many fronts, so ferociously and so relentlessly that eventually it crushes you under the sheer weight of it. Sometimes it comes with warning, sometimes it doesn't. And when that kind of rage becomes part of your everyday life, for years, it changes something deep inside you. You shape your whole life around it. You're constantly on alert, even when asleep. Yes, you learn to half sleep, just enough to hear when she approaches. And trust me, the sound of someone walking towards you to explode while you sleep, it sounds different than a normal walk. And those few seconds before she explodes, her way of waking you, become critical. You need just enough wit about you to not say or do the wrong thing when it hits, to learn to become instantly alert. But to be fair, when you're in an abusive relationship, you're never really relaxing anyway. And when you are awake, well, they call it hypervigilance. It's an obnoxious name, but in this context, it means being hyper aware of her moods, her tone, her body language, her attention. You become obsessively self critical. How you're standing, where you're standing, how loud you breathe, your tone, your words, your appearance. You fixate on the script that reduces the risk of an explosion. And you monitor her responses in real time. Did I respond too quickly, too slowly? Was my tone off? Did I use the exact right words? If you detect even the slightest flicker of disapproval, you jump into instant damage control. But those of us who have been in abusive relationships know no matter how hard we try, even if we stay fully calm and nonchalant, the anger and rage still comes, whether as punishment for some imagined slight, as a way to reassert control, simply because she felt like it. I remember once she came to tell me that a person she knew from work's boyfriend had just proposed. I responded gently, "That's lovely." I kept my tone soft, smiled in exactly the way she liked, because I'd learned what happened if I didn't match her happiness. But she still exploded. The rage was swift and vicious. She tore through me, calling me names, attacking me on every front. 10 minutes in, she finally revealed the reason. The boyfriend hadn't asked her opinion about the ring. In her eyes, that was the most insulting and idiotic thing that boyfriend could have done, because there was no way he could have gotten it right without her. And I was the one who paid for this insult. Rage comes in a few familiar forms. Sometimes you can feel it building up. That's the it's in the air feeling. Sometimes it detonates out of nowhere. And sometimes it's so disproportionate you struggle to reconcile the fury with what just happened. That's what today's deep dive is all about: anger and rage, and three of the most common forms that we face in abusive relationships, what it means to be a man confronted with it, and how we're forced to manage it when no one else sees it for what it is. This is Stand Again, a lived experience platform for men healing from abusive relationships. If this content helps name something you've felt but never known how to explain, please like and subscribe. This topic is difficult. Rage was a cornerstone of my life for over a decade. Writing this script was triggering. So if you're listening to this and finding this too hard to listen to as well, please stop. Reach out to a support network, a therapist, or a friend. Your safety also comes first. So visit standagain.com.au for a list of Australian crisis centres if you need it. Let's talk about rage, because those of us who have lived it know real rage isn't just someone raising their voice at you. Real rage reverberates in your bones. It triggers a fear so deep that your body flips into freeze, fight, flight, fawn, or even flop. You feel it in your chest, tight, like you can't draw a full breath. Your body knows what's coming and it's bracing to survive. In an abusive relationship, rage is used as a tactic. It's designed to dominate you or destabilize you or control you. If it's used to dominate you, it comes in wave upon wave upon wave until you emotionally submit to them. You fawn, you collapse, and even then, they might still punish you. If it's used to destabilize you, the rage might erupt out of nowhere or from something you thought was safe, a behavior or a thing that you've always done in the past that was always accepted, and now, for this one occasion, it's not. The goal is to make you question the rules, to unsettle you, so you turn to the abuser for safety and the new rules. It's twisted, but that's just the way it is. And if it's used to control you, it typically comes swift, like punishment for not obeying quickly enough or for showing any doubt or defiance in the relationship. Sometimes, which is a sad thing, the rage isn't even about you. It's about emotions your partner can't sit with, their own shame, guilt, or inadequacy. And because they struggle with self regulation and introspection, they lash out at the one person they've earmarked is safe and acceptable to hurt. In those moments, the rage feels untethered from logic. I once endured a 30-minute tirade filled with some of the most vile insults that I will not repeat here, all over a tea bag I left in a cup. And when it comes with full force. You're not just told you made a mistake, you're told you are the mistake. What makes this so dangerous is what it does to your nervous system. You begin to fear calm, to see safety as a setup. Even years after I left, I still flinched at peace. I couldn't relax. I scanned the air for threat. Then comes the inevitable aftermath, the denial, the amnesia, the lack of apology, the no accountability. She would either behave like it didn't happen, or she would seem, I'm not quite sure what the word is, lighter? And if she ever did acknowledge the abuse, it was always you deserved it, that you had done something to cause it, that you should be the one to apologize for making her scream. And then there's the line that confuses so many men. It's not the abuse that's the problem. It's how you reacted to it that's at fault here. That's the final twist, the one that breaks your sense of reality. Over time, your memory, which is already blurry from trauma, starts to edit out the rage as a way to protect you. I had days where I couldn't recall a single example of what she had done, not one. And other days, it would all come rushing back, sharp, vivid, overwhelming. Either way, you stop trusting your memory to serve you because even your own brain doesn't feel like a safe place to go anymore. More than that, you stop trusting your own anger. You see it not as protection, but as dangerous. You fawn, you freeze, you apologize for what they did. And slowly, the one emotion designed to protect you becomes the one you're afraid to feel. This is rage in abusive relationships, not as a loss of control, but as a tool of control. And for many of us, it's a tactic that typically breaks us. Let's look now at three of the most common types of rage that we face in toxic relationships. Some rage simmers in silence before it explodes. That's the quiet before the storm. You don't hear shouting at first. What you feel is a shift in the room, in her tone, in the space between words. It's the barometric pressure drop that signals an approaching storm. You learn to read it before you even realize you're reading it. She doesn't need to say anything. Her silence is thick with tension. Her posture tightens. Her replies get clipped. You ask if everything's okay, and she says yes, but your body already knows the answer. Your nervous system starts scanning every detail because you've learned that silence isn't peace, it's a warning. You start adjusting preemptively. You speak softer. You avoid risky topics, you rack your brain trying to find the cause so that you can get ahead of it. You cancel plans, you do extra chores, tiptoe through the evening. You're not overreacting, you're surviving. Because every time you correctly read the signs, it reinforces the idea that your safety depends on anticipation, appeasement, and surrender. This kind of rage doesn't just train you to avoid conflict, it trains you to question your instincts. And when the rage finally arrives, and it always does, you blame yourself for not preventing it. Over time, you build your life around avoiding something that hasn't even happened yet. You forget what it feels like to breathe freely. Some women use this pattern deliberately, holding onto resentment until they're ready to release it. Others may be reacting to internal feelings they're not processing: shame, disappointment, insecurity. But either way, you're the one left managing the tension, holding the pressure, and cleaning up the aftermath. I used to feel the shift before she even walked through the door. It wasn't obvious, not at first. Just a pause in the messages, a clipped K, no punctuation, just enough to tell me that the temperature had dropped. And I'd know. The air would thicken, my stomach would tighten. The night had already turned, even if nothing had been said. So I'd start fawning, not even consciously. I'd tidy up, preemptively apologize, offer her tea, pretend I was relaxed. I wasn't. I was scanning for the landmines I knew were out there, trying to outpace a mood I couldn't name. And just when I thought I'd softened the ground enough, the explosion would come anyway. It always did, usually just before bed. Sometimes I'd get to this point where I'd provoke it on purpose. I'd ask something small or act a little bit too cheerful, anything to just get it all over with. A twisted way of trying to feel some kind of control in an environment I had none. But I never really had it. I was just bracing for something that didn't follow any rules. The rage wasn't about what I said, it was about reminding me who held the match. Sometimes rage doesn't build, it detonates. This is the sudden snap. One moment things are calm, the next she's screaming. There's no warning, no tension, no slow burn. Just an instant shift from affection to attack. You could be laughing together, sharing a peaceful moment, even hugging. And within seconds, she's lashing out. The shift is so abrupt, it leaves you emotionally concussed. It's not just jarring, it's destabilizing. Your mind scrambles to make sense of what just happened, but there's no logic to follow. These outbursts aren't reactions to clear provocations, they often erupt over nothing. A question about a receipt, a forgotten task, or worse, nothing at all. And that's exactly what makes it effective. You stop trusting moments of calm. You start waiting for the turn. Even peace feels like a bait. Some women use this tactic to reclaim control when they feel vulnerable or exposed. Others use it to punish you for imagined slights or to reassert dominance after showing warmth. Whatever the reason, the result is the same. You learn that safety isn't real. You brace even when things are good, because good never lasts. You begin to mistrust your own joy. You start living in a state of constant alert, and slowly your nervous system unlearns what safety feels like. That's not moodiness, that's psychological warfare. I remember one day we had guests over. It felt good. She was warm, charming, engaged. I even had a moment while they were there thinking, maybe I'm imagining it all. She's really quite sweet. But the second the door closed behind them, she turned to me. I effing hate you. You're a piece of. No lead up, just detonation. I stood there frozen, trying to work out what the hell I had done during the visit, but I found nothing. There were so many incidences like this, so many, and they taught me something it took years of therapy to unlearn. Peace is not safe. It's a setup, the bait, the trap you're not meant to enjoy. Because when the blow comes, it hurts more if you were smiling just before the blow landed. Going nuclear is something I often describe my wife as doing. This is rage at full volume with no limits and no breaks. And it's no longer about the issue at hand, it's designed to wipe out everything in its path. Within seconds, it expands into character assassination, your work, your family, your dog, a t shirt you once wore when you were 8. It becomes a weapon of mass destruction. She doesn't just tell you you've made a mistake, she tells you you're a failure, a burden, a pathetic excuse of a man. She pulls out every stored insult, every unresolved grievance, every cruel thing she's ever wanted to say, and unloads it all at once. You're no longer dealing with the issue. You're being obliterated. Your voice, your posture, your history, your family, all fair game. And no matter how calmly you respond, it only fuels the fire. Your very presence becomes the provocation. This tactic often shows up when a woman feels emotionally exposed or weak. Going nuclear becomes a defense, a way to destroy you before you can challenge her. Is not about the tea bag in the cup. It's about making sure you feel too small to ever raise your voice again. The impact is total. You stop speaking, you stop correcting lies, you stop pushing back because there's no point. She's not looking for understanding, she's looking for surrender. And if you stay long enough, you start to offer it. When a woman rages at a man, the world doesn't say, that's abuse. It says, she must be stressed. Or worse, it laughs. You hear it in the jokes. Someone's in trouble. Wonder what he did to deserve that. You see it in the silence when no one steps in to help. We've all seen it. A man raises his voice and people intervene. A woman raises her voice, screams, insults, humiliates him in public, and no one moves a muscle. They look away, or worse, they just watch. Some even nod along. That's the cultural permission that surrounds female rage. It's seen as emotional expression. His pain is seen as weakness. And for men, that dismissal cuts deeper than just being ignored. It trains us to accept abuse, to believe it's not abuse, to believe we deserve it, and to wear it like a badge of strength, as if enduring rage without flinching proves our masculinity. We don't call it abuse, we call it coping. We tell ourselves we can handle it. But being a punching bag isn't strength, it's self erasure. And here's a double bind. If we speak up, we're unstable. If we push back, we're a threat. If we walk away, we're abandoning her. If we stay silent, we're complicit in our own erasure. Every option has a consequence, but silence is the one that's most rewarded. So we absorb it again and again until the line between coping and disappearing completely vanishes. I remember telling someone what was happening. She screams at me, I said. She calls me names. I feel unsafe. And the reply was calm, measured, patronizing. Maybe she's going through something. You just need to support her better. Not one word about me, not one question about how it was affecting me. That's the weight men carry. Rage is directed at us, and still, our job is to stay steady, stay silent, and stay supportive of our abuser. That's why this tactic works. Not just because it's loud, but because we've been trained not to hear it, not to name it, not to challenge it. Rage becomes something we adapt around, apologize for, absorb, until one day we don't even recognize how much of ourselves we've given up just to survive it. Rage from your partner doesn't just frighten you, it changes you. It reshapes how you walk, how you speak, how you breathe. It teaches you to question peace, to distrust calm, to apologize for things you did not do. And slowly you stop expecting to feel safe at all. But the truth is, anger has a place in your life. Not the explosive, abusive rage you were subjected to, but righteous anger, grounded anger, the kind that draws a line and says, this is not okay. This is not love. And I don't deserve to be treated like this. That anger isn't dangerous, it's protective. It's your system trying to keep you whole. And we need to be clear. Being raged at by your partner is not a gendered issue. It's not something women are entitled to express and men are expected to endure. It's not just how some women are. It's abuse. Full stop. The end. And no one should be expected to carry it. You deserve to live in a home where calm isn't suspicious, where safety isn't something you have to earn, where your dignity is not negotiated based on someone else's mood. That is not too much to want. That is the bare minimum. If rage was a part of your story, I'm sorry. If you still feel it in your chest, your breath, your dreams, you're not imagining it, and you're not weak. You survived something that was meant to break you. And survival means your body did what it had to do to get through. Now it's time to heal. Keep a log, write it down, voice record if you're allowed to in your state. Not for them, but for you, because the rage will be denied. And without a record, your memory will be too. Protect yourself from that erasure. Don't try to fix it through explanation. Don't try to match it with your own anger. Don't take responsibility for her explosion. The rage is hers. The damage is hers. You don't have to carry it. Instead, get support. Talk to a professional. Find someone who understands male victims of abuse. The longer you endure this, the deeper it buries into your nervous system. And no one deserves to live in fear of the person they love. If this gave words to something you felt but never said, please like, comment, and subscribe. You're not alone. And your voice might help another man find his. And it does not matter how many times you've been knocked down. You can stand again.